Welcome to The Second Life Happens, helping students deal with hunger, homelessness, and poverty concerns. We have two wonderful advocates for students here today. We have Susan Sweeney, who has for many years been chair or director of the CalWorks program at Gavilan, and Annette Gutierrez, who's a specialist in all things that have to do with the kinds of concerns that students face. So they're going to introduce themselves a little more at length and tell you something about the needs, something about the resources, and we're going to start with Susan. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much for having me. My name again is Susan Sweeney. I coordinate the CalWorks program, a brand new program that we're very excited about called Fresh Success. I also help bring the food pantry on campus, and I'm also an advocate for students in poverty that live in poverty below the federal poverty level. I work on the state level. I've been to Sacramento and testified. We've been successful in some policy changes, so we're really excited about that. We work with different counties. We have mainly San Benito and Santa Clara County, but we do work with Monterey and Santa Cruz County and Merced. So that and the community, we work in the community and help them come onto campus and provide resources. So Annette's going to introduce herself, and then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about resources that we currently have.
So my name is Annette Gutierrez again. I'm the program specialist for CalWorks and Fresh Success. And I've been part of the Gavilan College community for about 15 years now, previously as a student and a participant in many of the programs that we have here on campus. And for the last going on 12 years as a permanent employee in my current position. So with that, with my personal, professional, academic experiences, I've had a lot of exposure to the needs of students because I was a student. And I have had a lot of exposure to the resources that are available to students. Most recently in my position, because we do deal with the most neediest populations, CalWorks students are parents. Every single one of them are parents. They're receiving cash assistance from the county. Many of them are single parents, and many of them are, living with friends. They're living with parents. They're couch surfing. They're renting rooms. They're living in cars. So we do deal with a lot of the basic needs of students on a daily basis. And Fresh Success, similarly, we're seeing that they are the working poor. Many of them have 1, 2, and even 3 jobs, but not enough to get off of public assistance. So with that, we have a lot of exposure to the resources that are available on and off campus. It is definitely a passion of mine, and with that, I've brought that passion to the Learning Council, and we have an information and resource FIG there, where we bring information and resources onto campus every spring, and we'll be bringing that back in 2017 as well. We also have different agencies on campus throughout the year. For example, CalFresh is on campus. Second Harvest provides a CalFresh outreach specialist on campus every Tuesday, and she is located in the pantry. So we will continue to do that as we see the need, and we'll continue to, do things like this as well, because we know that information is power, and you all, faculty, and even the support services on campus see students every day, and so it's really important that you all have access to these resources as well.
Annette's touched on a little bit of what I was going to talk about, so I'm going to kind of breeze through those, but I do want to agree that we have done a survey, and 37% of those surveyed reported food insecurity. That's a large percentage. Santa Clara County is a wealthy county, but we are not in the wealthy area. So we live in deep poverty, an agricultural area, as you all know. San Benito also has a high poverty rate. We're looking at high school graduation rates being very low when compared to maybe Morgan Hill and the northern San Jose area. So education is an issue. We have transportation issues, and of course childcare. And then the biggie is housing, which you already talked about, people sleeping in cars, and even sleeping in a car, a safe place to park your car. So those are some of the things that we face. We did open the food pantry in response to the survey, and I'm really excited about it. We have a very small area, but we give away food. We almost clean it out every week. We're open Monday through Friday from 10 to 4. We serve the community and we serve students. We've started making snack packs and lunches, and hopefully when we are finished with some of the work here on campus, we will get a place where we have perishable foods so we can really serve families and students, and they can go home and prepare food. CalWorks, again, everyone is a parent, so we do see a lot of need and a lot of challenges when your children get sick. And transportation, using the bus to take your child to childcare and get to class on time. Those are really big challenges for them. Fresh Success is brand new. We're the first pilot, and we will be permanent in April. And we are serving individuals in Santa Clara County on food stamps, or eligible for food stamps. So we can bring utilities, we can help with any legal problems, we can fund a lawyer, emergency housing, we do counseling, we purchase books and any ancillaries to be successful in class. This is a really big and new program, and we're really excited. We're seeing a lot of people being able to take even more classes and work less, so they can get through their education quicker. So we look to grow. We also have EOPS, which is for first generation students. They're also low income. They get a portion of their books purchased. They get counseling. They have a care program for parents, single parents, and they can get gas cards and food cards. And those are not all their services, but those are the ones that come to my mind. Financial aid is very helpful. Many of our students have to have financial aid in order to go to school. Our Disability Resource Center brings accommodations and testing for students who need that. We are beginning to work on the new legislation about providing showers for homeless students, and I'm very excited about that. We are having discussions about using our parking lot for safe parking for those that must live in their car. And that's a long way away from being settled, but that's an idea that we're percolating. I want to also talk just a little bit about some of the things that you might experience with our students that live in poverty. I know you've already had the mental health presentation, so you understand a little bit about that. There's a skill set that you develop when you live in poverty in the community that keeps you safe and successful. And it really works when you are in the community, in your neighborhood, and it keeps you safe. But when you come to college, those skills don't transfer. And they try sometimes to use them here because that's what they know works. And one of the jobs we have is to try to replace those skills with things that are more appropriate. So when a student becomes maybe aggressive, that really does keep them safe. You know, they use humor that's sometimes not appropriate for the classroom. Some behaviors, if you see, are things that work for them. And we're trying to help them learn, let's not use them in the classroom. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Did you have anything else you wanted to touch on as far as things that we've learned?
I can't think about anything right now. It'll probably come to me later.
The other thing, secrecy. So it takes a very long time for them to trust and tell you what really the issue is. You know, you can meet sometimes with them 3 or 4 times, and maybe there's an abusive situation. Maybe
Culture, too.
Right? There isn't the support to come to school. It makes it very difficult for them to be successful when they're thought, well, you should just stay home and take care of your little brother. There's no need for you to work because you'll get married. These are things that sometimes take a long time to surface, and for you to validate what they're feeling and give them the resources to be successful. I think that's all I can think about right now, unless someone had a question about what I just talked about or other things you're noticing.
I have a question. So say that I have a student who I know is hungry. I know that I can send them between 10 and 4 to the food pantry for today. What can I do, or who else could help them on campus in the longer term? Say that they don't go there on a Tuesday when there's somebody there to sign them up for a longer term program.
That's a really good question. Annette has put together a resource guide here.
Well,
we also have St. Joseph's that has a pantry that is open. Our pantry is a little different. That we have some other standards for the food that we allow in our pantry. We want the healthy food. We don't want the cookies. So when you send an individual maybe to another pantry, there'll be a different selection. But they need the food. But the food stamps is very important, and it's a difficult process. So Annette and I are happy to serve as resources to the faculty and staff at Gavilan College. So we're happy if you want to call us or email us is probably the best way we can help you with resources. We've also trained the food pantry workers, if you can get them there. They have scanners so they can help them through the food stamp process, because it can be a little tangly when you're working with a big institution like that, because you have to have certain items, and so we can help them scan it. We can take them to the website and help them get through the process. Food stamps is really a good program, and it's a great start, because food pantries cannot feed you. You need to find another way to get food that sustains you.
Just to piggyback on that, can students, if they were, for whatever reason, comfortable or felt they only needed a little bit of assistance, could they use the sources at the food pantry and not get signed up for CalFresh? Or is there a requirement that they have to, so they could do one, the other, or both?
right.
Okay.
Maybe they're just tight that month and they need a little bit just to get by. The food pantry might work for them, but if it's something that's ongoing, like we are seeing students that are there every day, or families that are coming every week, and that tells us that there is a bigger need. So we're trying to encourage them to apply for CalFresh, and our student workers, as Susan mentioned, number one, they're all CalWorks students, and so they have been through the system. They know, all the kinds of ins and outs. All but one are bilingual, so English and Spanish. And so they can, like Susan said, they'll walk them through the process, they'll help them. They're all very passionate as well to help students and their peers or even the community. So that's a great place to send students to apply. As Susan mentioned, I provided with a very brief, not comprehensive, some links to community resources. And you'll see there's a lot of duplication of food. So a lot of these places have county representation there where they could apply for CalFresh. Like I know St. Joseph's does. They actually have county workers there on designated days, so they can apply for CalFresh. And all these different sources kind of do something different. Some do, fresh produce. Some do the non-perishable or a combination of. Some are once a week. Some are once a month. So it's really just about sharing this with students and letting them know that there are other places that they can go, that we're not the only place, but they may have to kind of navigate that system themselves.
So if I walk that student over to the food pantry, there will be somebody there who can help them in the immediate moment, and then also can have a resource list like this. Do you have copies of this resource? So they'll see some other places to go in San Benito and Santa Clara County. And then also, if the hungry student wants, they can also get help right there to sign up for food stamps.
Absolutely.
That's great.
Yes, I also wanted to let you know that we just had some donations, and we're starting with some personal hygiene bags. And I'm really excited about this. We have one for females that have items that we... Oh, was that the female? Sorry. So we have feminine hygiene. We have dentists who have donated toothbrushes and toothpaste. We have staff, when they go to the conferences, bring back the shampoo and conditioner and the hand cream. We have condoms in here, wipes. We have and razors, and then we have, for men, similar items. This is, and then we have, this is really exciting, for children. We have infants, so we would have wipes and diapers. We have them broken up into some with formula. For the older babies, we have pull-ups. So this is something that is brand new. We don't have tons of it, but we're working on getting donations to continue these.
So can the staff donate?
Yes, absolutely.
Money and, but I don't think people know that, so let's tell them, okay?
Yes.
We'll work on telling them.
Absolutely.
Could you talk for a minute about what kind of food food is offered, or the scope of it? As you mentioned, many different pantries offer a different
Mhm.
variety of perishable, non-perishable, and you mentioned healthy snacks. Does the food pantry just provide food for the day, or do they give a larger quantity?
Both. So the food for the day might be like a granola bar, maybe a soup, some sunflower seeds, some dried fruit, fresh fruit, because we actually do get some fresh fruit, and like we get onions and potatoes and apples and pears and oranges, whatever's in season. So they'll get maybe 4 or 5 different items and maybe a bottle of water, and it's in a little lunch bag. But we also have prepared bags that have like corn and canned corn, beans, rice, pasta. Yeah, there's maybe beef stew, tuna, tomatoes, or just different things that you could prepare. But you could actually prepare a meal. We've had a student actually prepare a meal and send us pictures. What he was able to prepare that evening. So it's kind of cool to see that students are really, they are really excited when they use this service. They're very grateful and thankful. We have classrooms that are being brought to the pantry. The entire class is being brought, and that is definitely welcomed, because it's just bringing awareness, and I think it's also reducing that maybe embarrassment or shame. We have staff that use the pantry, and it's open to everyone. We are not going to turn anyone away. People just have to self-certify. They do have to give us information, because we have to send St. Joseph's the information so that we can prove that we are serving the 100 to 200 people per week, because that's about how many are walking through every week, 100 to 200.
So in this post-election climate, that raises another question. Say that the student that I'm walking over there is undocumented. Where does the information go? Is it tracked? Is that something that would be of a concern to students, that Homeland Security would get a hold of this somehow?
We don't do social or anything like that. We have a student ID if they're a student, but if they're a community member, they don't have a student. We do need to know the size of the home, how many are in the home, so we know how much food to give to them. Again, it's not, it won't sustain you every day. You can't come every day and get big bags of food. We'll give you lunches every day, and once a week we'll give you a lot of food to take based on the size of your family. These are going to be a referral system, much like the gala was. Staff will be able to refer students. We don't want to have our student workers be in the position to decide who gets it and who doesn't. So the referrals will be electronic, and then the students will give them out to the community and anyone who needs it.
We're finalizing that process. We're finalizing the form. I know that was your next question. So we're hoping to get it out soon. We just want to make sure that we cover everything, and that we've looked over it and haven't left anything out. But basically, a student could be referred for themselves and maybe their child, and they could pick up for themselves and their child. And the child bags really are for probably 0 to 5 years old, just because we have size diapers 1, 2, 3, and then pull-ups right now. Again, donations would be great, because we are looking for things like deodorant, hand sanitizer, even like body wipes for the adults, things like the baby shampoo and baby lotion, Decidin, the baby rash cream. So those are things that we definitely are in need of. And of course, cash donations or things like that, or gift cards. We do have an account with the foundations, right?
Yes, we do.
Foundation.
We do.
So
It's a tax write-off.
So we give anyone who donates a receipt, and we put the funds into our account that we have for the hygiene items. Yeah.
So you're segueing into some of the homelessness questions I have, but would you want to ask another food question?
No, actually, my question is related to homelessness as well, so.
Okay.
I was looking at the list of wonderful services under the Fresh Success program, and one of them is emergency housing assistance. Could you talk a little bit about what that might look like for a student who's facing homelessness, what sort of support they could access?
I'm going to let Annette go into the detail on that. I want to tell you what we wanted to do. We wanted to give emergency housing, but it looks like the liability for hotel rooms is so high now with people destroying the rooms that we weren't able to do that. So we have a different process now, and so
So students basically that are eligible and participating in the program, they do have to go through our intake process for Fresh Success before they could be eligible for these services. But once they are, they meet with me. We do a budget, a 3-month budget with them to look at kind of where they're at, where their money is going. And I do a little bit of financial literacy with them and talk about a little bit of budgeting and things like that. And then we basically can pay up to 1 month's rent or 1 month to get in, you know, the first month to get into a place. So we've seen, I've helped about 3 students, I believe, with these services. And what we're seeing is that students, you know, who maybe they are a 2-parent family and maybe one of the head of households is no longer working. And so they have past due rent, they have past due PG&E, past due water, they're facing shut off. And so we are now a pledge agency with PG&E. So I'm able to call PG&E and say, I'm able to pay up to $250 on this person's account, and that buys the student an extra 30 days so that they don't get that shut off, because PG&E now knows that they're gonna get a check from us. The housing as well, I'm working with landlords and letting them know that, you know, a check will be coming. I apologize for the process, but you know, it takes about 30 to 45 days, just depending. But the landlords have been very receptive because they trust that we are going to, you know, it's a legitimate, we're a legitimate agency, and so they trust that the funds will be coming. So it's really about, it's a one-time deal, it's not ongoing. So it's about educating the student, finding some additional resources maybe with the student, talking to them about how to adjust their budget as well so that they can sustain their housing and utilities and all of their other expenses. So referring them to a lot of these places that I have on the sheet so that they can continue to get assistance maybe somewhere else afterwards.
So this Fresh Success program is kind of in a pilot phase until April of 2017, and then we know that it's going to go permanent. There's funding already in place.
The district has committed a nice chunk of money to keep it running. The federal government reimburses 44 cents of every dollar that I spend in this program, so half the money comes back and we invest. We also have equity dollars because, of course, poverty is one of the areas that's been recognized in the data in our equity plan, so we're able to support this program.
So now I have a homeless student. I walk that person over to Annette, it sounds like. Is that right?
You can walk them over to our office. For them to be eligible for the services in Fresh Success, they would have to go through the process. So they would have to be living in Santa Clara County. They would have to be eligible or already receiving CalFresh benefits, and we would help them apply if they thought that they were eligible. We have the income guidelines, so we would share that with them, and if they thought, yes, I think I'll be eligible, then we would walk them through the application process. Even if they didn't think they were eligible, we would still probably encourage them to go through the eligibility process, because oftentimes families are eligible. Even if it's $10 a month in CalFresh benefits that they get, they're eligible for our program. And that means up to $100 in gas a month, the one-time utility, legal, and housing, textbooks for eligible courses, because we're serving students that are in CTE courses, majors, also GED and ESL. Basic skills.
And what about San Bernardino County students?
Good question. We are trying to get that county to get on board. So the county has to have a ENT, employment and training program plan into the state, and there has to be specific things outlined there, and San Bernardino County does not have one of those yet.
And we've asked.
And we will continue to ask.
And we'll continue to ask, definitely. I want to touch a little bit on the housing issue. And I know when I was in college, the car would break down and I'd have to choose whether I'm paying my rent or if I'm going to have transportation. And so those are the people that we can help. The one-time thing, doctor bills, or something came up and I couldn't work those hours that I needed to work. And so we can step in and keep things from all the fees and penalties that you get. The other thing that I want to mention, a lot of our students drive without insurance, which is really risky, and the state has a real low-cost insurance program. So when you hear these things, there are probably resources to help students. So if you have a question about something like that, send one of us an email and we'll help you. We do have a website on our website. Do we have links?
So there's on the one pager. I don't think you have it, Leah, but it's here. So there's a link to the CalWorks website, which is just basically gatlin.edu. Oh gosh, it's really long. Never mind. I thought it was just /CalWorks, but it's not. Anyhow, so if you just click on the CalWorks website, then you'll see community resources there, and there's, I believe, 3 different resource guides. One of them does touch on San Benito, and the other 2 are more about South County, so Santa Clara County, which by the nature of the county, as Susan said, they have a lot of money, so there's definitely a lot more resources here. But I do live in San Benito County, and San Benito County does have resources. They're a little bit harder to find, but they do exist. So I'm happy to be a resource if someone does have a student in San Benito and doesn't know where to go. Yes.
And for the Fresh Success Program, the same question about tracking Homeland Security, immigration status. Is that something that would be a concern for students through that program?
So they would have to be a legal resident to be part of the Fresh Success Program, because they would have to be eligible to receive CalFresh benefits, and that's one of the requirements for CalFresh.
Okay.
I believe the county has a program for those who are not residents, but that's a different program and therefore would not qualify for Fresh Success. So there's a state and a federal program, and the federal program is the one that you have to be a legal resident or citizen.
But if they came to talk to you, you could figure that out?
Yes.
Okay, so now what about the student who does not have an apartment, who is living in her car? How do we as faculty try to help that student?
So I mean, for me, I would definitely try to get them on general assistance. That's through the county. All counties have general assistance, and there are lots of rules around that. But you know, the county is a nice resource to send them to for CalFresh benefits, because the county also has homeless prevention programs and housing programs. All the counties, it's a big thing all across the state to have these housing programs, because it's a big issue that housing is scarce and very expensive.
Can they be students and receive general assistance at the same time?
That's a good question. I do not know a lot about general assistance. Like I said, there are a lot of rules. Because even for CalFresh, and that's why this program is so important, that you have to be working. Part of receiving that CalFresh benefit is that you have to be working or be enrolled in an ENT program. We are an ENT program. So by being part of our program, they are able to basically waive that work rule.
I'm just wondering, I'm not sure I know yet how to help the student who got kicked out and is sleeping in her car.
So unfortunately, now you have to be referred to the shelters. You used to be able to go to a shelter. Now you have to go through a referring agency. Yes, it's just one more step, one more
So like
red tape.
St. Joseph's, Envision,
And
Those
we-
can refer.
So yes, and that might be a discussion that we might have to be
Compassion Center. There you go. Yeah, that's another one.
maybe Gavilan or Fresh Success or the food pantry could get that status, and I mean that's something that we would take on following through with that. So that's an added step. You can't just say go to the shelter, because they won't take you anymore. So now you need to know who the referring agencies are, and we need to get those to you.
And is there any, when I was in college, you used to be able to go to a little room in the student union, and there'd be, 50 people in the community who were renting a room. They wanted a college student or people looking for a roommate. Is there any kind of resource like that?
The housing is so scarce here in Santa Clara County. No, and it's very expensive to get a room. Very expensive.
So Craigslist.
Yeah. I mean, I think I've seen one posted looking for a roommate.
I mean, I see them a lot like at laundromats and things like that, outside of grocery stores, room for rent, but there's not like a formal system. And that's something that Learning Council, through the Information and Resource Base, that we're really trying to work on, is to collect and compile resources, have a centralized location on our website where it encompasses San Benito and Santa Clara County, and anyone can go there and just search for housing or search for, car insurance or childcare or whatever it may be. But that's a huge task and it requires resources. So there is definitely a lot of support on this campus to do that, but it's, takes time and things to put that together. But that's definitely a priority that we're looking to hopefully accomplish over the next, year or so.
And Section 8 is one that people think of immediately. That's closed in Santa Clara County. What many students do is move out of the county, get on Section 8, and move back. That's really the only way to get it in Santa Clara County, because they rarely open it. Ryan, did you want to?
Do our showers and locker room facilities open for our students that are
We
homeless?
are-
I mean, I've kind of like.
We're
just
working
heard
on our board
passing.
policy and administrative policy. A health, safety, and grounds is taking this on. The legislation has passed, and now we're putting together our policy. Yes.
So that's coming then?
That's coming.
Okay.
What about the 3 or 4 students I had this semester whose cars really did break down and they really couldn't afford to get them fixed, and so they missed a week or 10 days, and that's more than they're supposed to miss in the whole
Right.
semester, so I have to deal with that kind of academically. But is there any help available for those students?
So there is outreach, which is, again, this is just Santa Clara County, and there are some requirements to participate in outreach. And that is an organization that will take you to and from certain places. They typically help those receiving, like on CalWorks or receiving cash aid, and the elderly, and who have disabilities. Again, if they're low income and if we can help them get on CalFresh, I know we sound like a broken record, but we would be able, a lot of doors would open because we could give them bus tokens, we could get, help them in that way.
So CalFresh, Fresh Success is a solution to a lot of things,
A lot of things, yeah.
if they're eligible.
If they're eligible, and the great thing about the program is that you don't have to be a parent. We are serving a lot of athletes. You don't have, there's not like a resident, so to speak, like in-state resident kind of thing. If you moved here from any other county or any other state, even if you're homeless, you can apply and receive benefits. There's not a unit requirement. They could be in one non-credit ESL class. They could be full-time. So there's a lot less restrictions, and that was the goal of this program, was to serve those that are not already being served, that are, right? Because EOPS is a great program, CalWorks is a great program, financial aid is a great program, but there are so many requirements to receiving the maximum benefits in all of those programs. Yes.
I'm guessing that the need will keep increasing, just kind of watching what's happening, and that there may be less federal funding. Are any of the programs kind of protected from cuts, or is everything up for grabs?
Well, you can never say for sure, right? I mean, we have a whole different environment now, and we're not sure what's going to happen. But we do have the commitment. The Department of Agriculture runs, for the federal government, runs the food stamp program, and they just came and visited, and we're extremely excited about our success. So we anticipate that this is going to continue, and they want fresh success in every county, whether it's a nonprofit or it's a college. That's the goal in California. So it developed in Washington State. It was very successful. The community colleges up there are all part of that. Hawaii has one, the community college there. They have 13 people in it.
We have about 50.
Yes, and we have that many waiting to get through the process as well. So, and we just started.
Yeah.
So I do anticipate it will be permanent. It's our promise.
They're building, they're continuing to add pilots, so it doesn't sound like they're getting rid of it, if that helps. Yes.
So are the PG&E and the rental assistance, is that all part of the same program as St. Joseph's, or, can they come with you would get rental assistance and then also go like to St. Joseph's or the other church and also
Sure.
get more assistance?
That's a good question.
Because is there, I mean, is it the same?
We're not collaborating at that level.
Okay.
We do collaborate in that they know about our program, we know about their program.
And we use their model. I mean,
Right.
they help us develop ours, but we would not say, no, you already got help.
Right.
Yeah, well, and I just was thinking if it was the same, same program where it's like, oh, well, you're double dipping in that same program or that would.
It's not the same program, they're different funding.
So they could, I mean, if they needed more assistance than what
Right.
we could help them with here.
Right, because there's things like Sacred Heart that will do
Sacred
the
Heart,
PG&E
yeah, well,
assistance, and
Mhm.
obviously PG&E has the care program with a
Yeah.
discount, and
Right.
they go in and weatherize and help energy efficient things like that. So those are different programs, but obviously they're helping the same cause.
Right.
So I refer our students to those programs all the time because those are longer programs. Those are ones that are going to help them sustain maintaining their living situation, where ours is just a one-time emergency help.
So there are a number of efforts, because a lot of people around campus over the years have tried to work on pieces of this.
Mhm.
And I know the ASB offers book loans
Mhm.
at the beginning of the semester, and they usually run out pretty quickly. And then for a couple of years, wonderful years, we had gala money for
Mhm.
gas, but that's, I think, gone.
Mhm.
So is there one place that people can go that's kept up to date, which I think would be a big job, where you can look and you can see, oh, okay, well, here are all the food options. You said there was a resource guide. Is that online? Is that...
It is online, and Santa Clara County puts it together, but I would say 211. 211 is another resource. You can county. You can call from any county. You tell them what your need is, and they find an organization in your county that may help you with that resource. I know we've referred people there. I've called it to make sure it works.
I want to say that you may experience this, where a student gets in crisis and they come to you for help, and then here you go, here's your help, and then things settle down and they don't do anything about it, and then next month it happens again. I think you'll see this, we do. They go in and out of crisis, and then it takes them a long time to fix what the real problem is. So follow through is something that we really need to work on. It's going to come back to you. So let's do it this time.
So is there a web page that you keep, or do you just think people should go to the county one?
Well, the county one's on our website. These things change so often.
Yes.
And that's why the little sheet that I provided are ones that I use on a regular basis and that I know are still current. But I think the food pantry would be a good place if you wanted to send students. We have a lot of resources there that are, in paper form. Our students are really resourceful because they're using the resources. Unfortunately, no, there's not really a place with updated current information other than maybe us and our students. Because and it's only what we're using, right? We're only familiar with what we're using, and we're grateful that we're using these things often enough that we're, becoming more knowledgeable and we're able to share our knowledge, but we're definitely not experts, and we're not, aware maybe of everything that's out there. I'm certain that there's other things out there that we're not aware of. But Susan goes to a meeting called Safety Net, and I go to, and we both sometimes share this one, the advisory at the county, where they bring a lot of resources to us, and they share about what's coming up and things that are happening. Oftentimes it's strictly for CalWorks, but sometimes they end up expanding to the entire community. You probably have seen lots of my emails that go out about different resources, and I'll continue to do that. But I know that doesn't always reach everyone. So yeah, that's a really hard question. Unfortunately, there's not.
Well, it keeps changing.
It does.
Things rise up and then go
Mhm.
away,
The
so
funding.
that's what's hard.
And people's needs change. I mean, sometimes they're getting evicted and it's an unlawful eviction. So, it's Project Sentinel, and sometimes it's just a food thing. So maybe it's a one-time food thing. Sometimes it's an ongoing, or like you mentioned, the student that's living out of their car. That's a really, really tough one.
And glasses and dental work and things that keep you from being successful in the classroom.
Mental health, all sorts of things. even having a child that has a disability, and the child's not getting the services that they need because the parent's not aware that there are services out there or that they're entitled to those services. I mean, we have gone to IEPs and done all those things for our students, but I know there's not really a system on this campus to help every single student. Yeah.
Are there, like financial literacy workshops? I don't know if financial aid does any, but, our students begin to.
That's a good question.
Get a large, check, and then
Mm-hmm.
how did they, that was one thing for me. I was like, oh, I got all this money. How do I, what do I do?
Financial aid does that.
Do we do that?
Financial aid,
Do they do
There's
that?
some financial
they
literacy
developed
stuff.
some program that you can go on and through the Vice President of Student Services.
Oh, okay, cool. I didn't know that.
We do it, of course, for our populations.
There's also Opportunity Fund on here. That I refer every student to that, because if you're living or working in Santa Clara County, and that even counts for work study students. So all of our work study students are considered working in Santa Clara County because Gatlin College is in Santa Clara County, and that's a college savings program, and they put you through. It's a college savings match program. So for every dollar, I think they give you $2 or something like that. And they put you through financial literacy classes and things because they want to make sure your credit score is, up to par, and they want to make sure you know how to save and all those kinds of things. Also, United Way does financial literacy workshops as well, and we are working to bring them here.
True. That's a big challenge, though, for students who don't have money. They don't see it.
A value.
Yeah, there's no value in this. I don't have any money. But then you're right. They get a large financial aid check, and there's probably a better way to spend it. Plan. Yeah. It's hard to get them to come when we offer things like that.
Or people think I can't save. I barely could, what am I going to save? I have nothing to save. But they don't realize that even putting $20 away, that in a year you could have $3,000 that you can spend on something. And it's really trying to find kind of that middle ground and figuring out how to bring that value to them and make them realize that it does, it's there. So,
I have a hard, as if these other questions haven't been hard, but I have a hard kind of philosophical question. But I think faculty wonder, although I think it's hard for people to articulate it because it makes you sound like a bad person if you ask, where does my responsibility lie? How much am I responsible for making information available, for walking the person to it, for following up, especially when there's so many needs in one classroom. What would you say would be a good kind of rule of thumb or way to approach some of these needs? Because they're huge.
well, I'm probably not the best person to answer that question because
I'm a great person.
Because I'm going to say that it is our job. It is our job, and that's why we're doing the work that we're doing, because we do go the extra mile and above and beyond. And like I said, we've gone to IEPs, we've gone to fair hearings with our students, we've been on the phone with attorneys, anything that we need to do to make sure that we're providing everything that we can support-wise to our students so that they're successful, because we all know that education is going to lead to self-sufficiency. And we have a book with hundreds of stories that attest to that. So it is our responsibility, because if we don't take the responsibility, who will?
Of course, you have to take care of yourself.
Very true.
Watch your boundaries. Make sure that your issues aren't
Coming
out. But we've already done the mental health one. But we do generally try not to allow people's crisis to become our crisis. So we don't go into crisis when they are. And we're able to be stable and talk to them and help them.
And you will see students who are not already enrolled in CalWorks or other programs.
We do our best to find something. We have a lot of programs in our office, so when the student comes in, it's about what does that student need. It's not about what we need you in this program.
Right.
If this one suits you better, then that's the one that can serve you.
Yeah. And Olga, our office assistant, is amazing at really screening and assessing and helping and referring to the food pantry or something so that they can kind of get that jump on applying and things. But we will see students before they're official. We just can't give them any services. And that's what they're all waiting for, right? But once they get the services, it's just like amazing.
We had an athlete that was trying to finish up for his scholarship in another state, and he became eligible in the summer, and he was taking 12 units in the summer. And so stressed out when we finally got him from the pantry into this program, and we bought him his books. And he came to us and said, "These are the first books I've owned
Ever.
ever."
Or we have students that are saying, I got a parking permit. I've been like parking random places hoping that I don't get a ticket. You know, they're just trying to get by.
I think especially new teachers here, especially people who come from other places, have no concept of the kinds of things that our students are dealing with, and so I think it's easy to come with this mindset, well, I'm just teaching whatever I'm teaching math, or I'm just teaching English. You know, these are problems well beyond the scope of my classroom, and I'm not from this area, I don't know the resources. How can you educate people so that they can see the whole student? I mean, maybe not you, maybe you're not the ones who have to do that, but how can we encourage people who work here to see the whole student and to see it as our responsibility, to help them at least get some resources?
Yeah, I mean, definitely everyone's going to have a different comfort level of what that looks like. So obviously being aware of what that looks like for you, because what it looks like for me and what it looks like for you is probably very different. But just knowing that you don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to be the expert in anything, but as long as you can point the person in the direction of where to go, I think that would be the simplest thing, and then you don't feel like you have to take the full responsibility of that student's challenges.
I would say walk the person.
Or walk the person, yeah.
Because pointing is not.
Sure.
It is hard to find places here. Surprising to us,
Yeah.
but they get lost finding the pantry. So yeah, sometimes you have to, like the instructor that brought their whole class to the food pantry during class time. It was pretty amazing. But working here and having the students in your classrooms, you can't miss it. You know, they're falling asleep. They're agitated. You know, you see it. They're not clean. They don't have books. They don't have a pencil.
You see it if you're paying attention. And if you know what you're looking at. But there are ways that you can also not see it.
Really?
I think so. Which is unfortunate.
Unfortunate, yes.
Right, because I think sometimes faculty feel like, well, they're not turning in assignments or they're not showing up because they don't care. And that might be true for some people, but for some it might mean that they didn't have transportation or they didn't, you know, something else is going on. So again, it's all about the level of that you want to take it to. Do you want to make that phone call to that student? Do you want to find out what it really is going on or not? Yeah, that's something that I think every faculty person has to ask themselves.
Any other questions?
Well, thank you for having us. This is we're very passionate about it.
Yeah.
We're trying to be calm, but
And we're welcome to do presentations in classes. So about the food pantry, about Fresh Access, CalWorks. I know EOPS and CARE as well. They'd be more than happy to come to a classroom at any given point in time and just share that we exist, give a face to the location and the names that they might see on a website or in a directory. We know that that really helps kind of build that connection and let them, you know, that maybe they can feel that we really do care about them. And so maybe they'd be more inclined to come and see us.
and send us your resources so we can share. We can continue to push them back out. I know Leia's helped us many times. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much.